Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Welcome to Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center. We are delighted to have you here to join us to celebrate Shabbat. Is there anything else we're celebrating tonight? Oh, yes. We're celebrating with the Hartford family because Aiden is becoming bar mitzvah. Woo! And we're going to be celebrating that throughout this Shabbat as well. So we have a regular Friday night service tonight at 7:30. That's right. And tomorrow morning at 9:30. So the show's not over tonight, folks. Please come back and continue celebrating Shabbat with us tomorrow. But that's tomorrow, and I'll make that announcement again at the end. Here in the beginning, I want to give two PSAs, two public service announcements for you. And that is, first and foremost, this is a singing community. We're going to be singing throughout the service. That's one of the reasons we've gone to this multi-studio experience, is so that we can take our masks off and all sing together. And that includes you, even if you are muted or watching through YouTube or something else. Even if you think we can't hear you, when you sing, you feel better and we feel better. So please sing along with us throughout the service. To help out with that, we have, we have some Sidurim, links to the Siddur that are posted in the chat. If you're with us on chat, the Siddur is a Jewish prayer book. I've got one right here, and I'll be calling page numbers throughout the service. If you're wondering where those numbers are coming from, they're in this book. So please feel free to download that at your leisure. With that, let's get on with our Shabbat service. We always usher in Shabbat with song, and usually with this song. And this is a song where we sing about the angels that join us on Shabbat to protect us and to guide us and to make sure we have this holy experience between a couple of hard work weeks. So let's pause and we'll ascend the ladder of song starting with Shalom Alechem on page 13. Page 13, please sing along with us.
And I know some of you are actually going to sing along. I see those of you who have joined us in Zoom, welcome, Shabbat Shalom. I hope at some point we are able to see who is in Facebook and YouTube, and we can formally welcome everyone who's joining us for Shabbat. In the meantime, together on page 13. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Yasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Amlakim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Malachem LaShalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Nil Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Tzechem LaShalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Together. Yai, 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 Together, צאתכם, צאתכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. ממלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
And even as we increase our song in the world, we're also increasing the light in our homes and in our hearts, the light of Shabbat with lighting candles. And so we have on the bima in the chapel, let's go to the chapel. We have a couple of candles there. They're already lit, but they're due for blessing. So I'd like to call upon Anna and Allie and Sandy Hartford to say the blessing for the candles in the chapel.
אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו להאריך נר של שבת. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Well done. So we are going to continue now that we've got a little bit more light to continue to crank up the volume. So this part of the service called Kabbalat Shabbat is something that our sages designed for us as I said before, a ladder, a sulam, where we can ascend from whatever's been bringing us down this week into a more heavenly experience. And they do this by giving us some songs and some psalms and some poems to take a look at before we get into our evening prayers. It starts with L'chuna Ranana on page 15. Page 15, please join us.
L'chuna Ranana, L'chuna Ranana, L'chuna Ranana, l'Adonai. L'chuna Ranana, L'chuna Ranana, L'chuna Ranana, l'Adonai. Naria, Naria, Letzuri Shainu, Nekach Mafana Betoda. Naria, Naria, Letzuri Shainu, Bizmirot Naria, L'chuna Ranana, L'chuna Ranana, L'chuna Ranana, l'Adonai. L'chuna Ranana, L'chuna Ranana, L'chuna Ranana, l'Adonai, כי אל גדול אדוני ומלך גדול על כל העולם. ארבעים שנה אקוט ודור ואומר המטועי לבבם והם לא ידעו דרכי אשר נשבעתי ואפי אם יבואון אל מנוחתי יאי עלי רי עלי עלי רי היי עלי רי עלי 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 היי עלי רי עלי 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 יאי עלי רי עלי 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya 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 ay 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 שירו לאדוני שיר חדש שירו לאדוני כל הארץ שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו בצרו מיום ליום ישועתו ספרו וגויים כבודו וכל העמים נפלאותיו
נפלאותיו כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד נורא הוא על כל אלוהים יאיר אלי אלי היי אלי 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 היי אלי 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 Hey, alay, 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 alay. Hey, alay, 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 alay. Alay, alay, yalay, alay, 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 yalay, alay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, ay, ay,
The previous two songs we had were based on the Psalms of our King David. The next one was a fairly recent composition, only about 500 or so years old, composed by one of the Kabbalists of Sfat, who imagined among all his compatriots that Shabbat was like a guest, a being, a person entering their presence. But this guest they regarded as someone who was both incredibly transcendent, but also an imminent friend. And in this song, Shabbat is spoken of as being both a queen, someone with great majesty, and something radiating beauty, but also a bride, like a member of the family who you are there to honor on a special occasion. Lacha dodi, which means, speaking to the Shabbat, come my beloved. It starts on page 21, page 21.
לך דודי לקראת כלה יד עלי, יד עלי, יד עלי בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה יד עלי, יד עלי, יד עלי בני שבת נקבלה אוי 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 שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד השמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם ולתפארת ולהתהילה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי מקור הברכה וראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה אוי לך דודי לקראת כלה יאללה 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 בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה יאללה 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 בני שבת נקבלה מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה קומי צאי מתוך הפכה רב לך שבט בעמק אבחה והוא יחמול עלייך חמלה התנערי מעפר קומי לבשי בגדי תפארתך עמי על יד בן ישי בית הלחמי קורבה אל נפשי גאה קלה, אוי לך דודי לקראת קלה, יאללה יאללה יאללה, בני שבת
נקבלה
לך דודי לקראת קלה, יאללה יאללה יאללה, בני שבת נקבלה, התעוררי כי באורך קומי אורי, אורי, שיר לברי, כבוד אדוני, עלייך נגלה, אוי לך דודי לקראת קלה, יאללה יאללה יאללה, בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, יאללה יאללה יאללה, בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לא תבושי ולא תקלמי, ומה תשתוכחי ומה תמי, בך יחסו אני הימי וניבטה, גידלתי לה והיו לי שיסה, שעשייך ורחקו כל מבלייך, יסיס עלייך אלוהיך, כמסוס חתן על כלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה, ימין ושמאל תפרוצי, ואת אדוני תריצי, על יד איש בן פרצי, ואני שמחה ונגיל עליך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבל עליך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבל, בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם לשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבל עליך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבל עליך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבל עליך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
The last poem and song that we share before we begin the Mariv service is a psalm for Shabbat. It's a special psalm dedicated just for Shabbat. In your prayer books, it's on page 23. And this evening, it's going to be spoken as a poem by, by Sandy and Steve Hartford in honor of great grandma Lillian. So let's go to the chapel for Sandy and Steve.
A song for Shabbat.
It is good to acclaim Adonai, to sing your praise, exalted God.
To affirm your love each morning and your faithfulness each night, to the music of the lute and the melody of the harp.
Your works, Adonai, make me glad. I sing with joy of your creation.
How vast your works, Adonai. Your designs are beyond our grasp.
The thoughtless cannot comprehend, the foolish cannot fathom this.
The wicked may flourish, springing up like grass, but their doom is sealed, for you are our supreme forever.
Your enemies, Adonai, your enemies shall perish. All the wicked shall crumble.
But me you have greatly exalted. I am anointed with fragrant oil. I have seen the downfall of my foes. I've heard the despair of my attackers.
The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. They shall grow tall like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the house of Adonai, they will thrive in the courts of our God.
They shall bear fruit even in old age. They shall be ever fresh and fragrant to proclaim, Adonai is just, my rock, in whom there is no flaw.
Yeshua, well done. And like most psalms, we also have a song for that. And so we're going to sing the same words, except in Hebrew and as a song on page 23. Page 23, please join us.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, באמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי גיון וכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. כי שימחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידך, במעשה ידך ארנן. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מעולם כמחשבותיך. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מעולם כמחשבותיך. יא אליי 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 אליי, יא אליי 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 אליי.
Together.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Once again, welcome to Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center. Wherever you're coming from, I think you're in the right place, and we're delighted to celebrate Shabbat with you. We're also celebrating the bar mitzvah of one Aiden Hartford, Mazel Tov Aiden, and we're just getting warmed up, but you're already doing great. So somebody said to me, Rabbi, there's a bar mitzvah this weekend, so don't give the sermon you usually do. And I said, what's the sermon I use? They say every rabbi has one sermon. So what's the sermon usually? It's like the rambling one. So, okay, I thought this week it's going to be different. I brought a piece of paper that I wrote my sermon on, and so we're going to see how that goes. And it says, tell the cow story. Well, that's no help. I'll just put that there for later. But there is, in fact, a cow story. I want to share just a few brief words of Torah before we get to the part that Aiden has thoroughly practiced. So there's a cow, but I get ahead of myself here. In this particular parsha, we've had a couple of weeks of building the Mishkan or talking about building the Mishkan. We had last week, as I said, was Fashion Week. We had people talking about the clothes that the priests would wear when it was time to do that. And this parsha centers on a moment where Moses is having kind of a private audience with God in the beginning of the story. And Moses is there to receive the law. A few weeks back, Parshat Yitro, we had the announcement of the Ten Commandments. And as we get past number 10, the people who have been awestruck up until this point have had about all that they can take of the voice of God. And I don't mean that in a mean way. They're like, this is amazing, and it's super duper scary and loud, and I know there's more. Moses, can you just go get the rest of it in writing, right? So we don't forget any of it. We can't remember more than 10 at a time anyway. So Moses goes up to the top of the mountain to receive the 10 commandments and the rest of the Torah from God. And while he's there, God is writing the commandments, God's self. Right, so God has these two tablets of stone, and letters are appearing. I'm not going to say what kind of pen God uses. There's a midrash on how these letters appear on the stone. They appear carved not just on the surface, but all the way through. The letters penetrate the stone. And why this is all the much more miraculous is this includes the closed letters, meaning there's a samech, which looks like kind of a circle. If you can imagine carving a circle into a stone all the way through, there'd be like a chunk. There'd be like a little donut hole. But the rabbis say that piece was left floating suspended in space in all of the open letters. This is the miraculous nature of God's writing. So these tablets are incredibly valuable, not just because they contain this guide to life for a free people, but because this is the first artifact that we are going to hold in our hands, fashioned in our lifetime by the Holy One. And so Moses is just about to take these amazing tablets down the mountain when he hears a commotion. And he says, God, what's that? And God said, you don't want to know. But I'm going to tell you anyway what the people are doing. See, Moses had been gone for a little while. Moses had been gone for 40 days and 40 nights, very popular span of time in the Torah. But he'd been gone for 40 days and 40 nights. And this people, who were in the middle of nowhere, just having experienced the most dramatic event of their lives, sat there in stunned silence. And not just their silence, but God's silence. They were in the middle of nowhere, had no idea how to live their lives. I mean, the top 10 were pretty compelling, but they weren't like every day, what time should I get up and cook my breakfast kind of things. So they had no guidance. They had no further instructions. And people who had been rescued from slavery, from hundreds of years of slavery, overnight, forgot who rescued them. It took just 40 days to forget who they were and who and what they were for. And so what they did was they took all of the valuables that they'd taken with them from Egypt. They melted down all the gold and built an idol. It took them 40 days to lose their path and start a brand new religion. And God was nonplussed, let's put it mildly. And he said to Moses, or God said to Moses, I'm going to start over again. I'm not going to wipe out the whole world. I already made that promise with Noah, but these folks are not for me. Tell you what, Moses, I'm going to wipe them all out and start over with you. You're the new Jewish Noah. And let's see how that goes. And Moses, in all of his chutzpah, speaks to God and says, are you sure? Not for me, not for them, but for you. People are going to talk. People are going to say, you brought this people out into the wilderness just to kill them. You could save them, but you couldn't sustain them. And we don't want people saying that about you. How about we just give them a good talking to, maybe a plague or two, and we'll give them another chance. So Moses is filled with compassion for his people in God's face. But when he comes down the mountain, let's just say he's not dripping with compassion. He's carrying 2 heavy tablets of stone, these gifts of God for them, and they're dancing around a golden calf. And he picks them up and he smashes them in front of them. And in his further rage, he takes the cow down, he burns it. It's really just gold leaf. There's a lot of wood in there. There's a lot of ash, and he makes them drink the ash. He is angry. And they're so busy with this that nobody asks, dude, you just broke God's tablets. God gave us those, and you smashed them. It had the floating samach and everything, and they are toast. Why would you do that? And there's a couple of opinions about this. This is a Jewish story. There's a couple of opinions about this. One of my favorite midrashim is a midrash from Pirkei Rebbe Eliezer, who's describing this scene of Moses taking down these stone tablets, and it's got the floating letters, which means after, just do a little math and physics here for a second, after God carved the letters in the stones were lighter than they were before. And so Moses is carrying them down, and when Moses sees, and when the stones see what the people are doing, the letters depart. They fly off. They say, no, thank you. We are not part of this project. The letters disappear, and the tablets become these heavy blocks of stone again in their full weight. And Moses can no longer support them, and he drops them, and they shatter. And the rabbis look at this and say, you've probably been there before. If you've ever had a position of leadership and everybody was behind you and everybody was on mission and everybody was enthusiastic about it, no burden, no stones are too heavy. But when you give the people your all, when you guide them on the right path and they just decide, you know what, we're going to take our own path, no burden is light enough. There's another story that I like a little bit better. It's from Masechet Menachot in the Bavli, where Moses sees what the people are doing, and before they see him, he smashes the tablets. Because he knows what they're doing is wrong. God knows what they're doing is wrong. But maybe just this once, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's erase the law for a second. Let's give them a second chance to learn the right way forward. And if I have to, I'll write the next set of tablets. And he did. So Moses literally broke the law to spare his people from shame. I just have one take to add to that. Maybe Moses knew in that moment as he carried this treasure from God's own hands that we have to write our laws ourselves for them to be effective. That doesn't mean that we all wrote the Torah, that we continue to write our own Torah. I believe the Torah comes from God. There are a few different opinions on how that happened, and I have several of them, but I believe that the Torah comes from holiness to make us holy. It is a gift from outside of us, but each of us has the power to bring it into reality. If anybody's, I came of age in a time where the first part of my schooling, I took meticulous notes in handwriting, and you all have seen my handwriting, so it can't have been that useful. But I took lots of notes in handwriting, and then when I was in grad school and I could afford a computer, I was taking notes on my computer, and I just didn't do as well. Because when I was writing thoughts in my own hand, I remembered them. They stuck, even when I didn't go back and look at them. But if I wrote them down on a computer, I had to look at them again and again and again for them to sink in, because it cost me nothing to create that record. Moses says to himself, I just bought these people another lifetime. I need to make sure they don't screw it up again. So this time, I'm going to write their laws as a human being so that they know human beings can do this. So as you go into your week, you will make decisions. And there will be people who notice. These could be children that you have. These could be students that you teach. These could be people that you're responsible for at work. These could be people in your household who admire you. Know that in every decision that you make, in every action that you take, in that moment, you are writing a law. You are putting it on the table that this is the right thing to do. And everyone whom you are responsible for is watching you. So consider that and act so that those who look up to you will follow the laws that you write. And in doing so, live lives of worthiness and justice and peace. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you again for joining us at PJTC. We're going to continue with our celebration of Shabbat. And this time we are going to have some help from the chapel. So let's go there to the chapel where our good friend Aiden is going to be leading us in the Barhu, the call to prayer. That is on a page. That page is 28. And Aiden is now going to turn around and face the ark and lead us in the Barhu.
Baruch et Adonai Chamiborach.
Baruch Adonai Vorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Le'olam Va'ed.
Amen.
Baruch Adonai.
Uma'avir Yom Ume'evi Laila. Umavdil Ben Yom Uvein Laila. Adonai Sabaoth Shomo. El Hai Vekayam Tamidim Lo Chalenu Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai.
Baruch Shemo.
Hama'ariv Aravi.
Amen. If you're still standing, you may be seated. We continue with Ahavat Olam on page 29. Page 29.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Amcha Avta
Torah u'mitzvot, chokim u'mishpatim, otanu limadata, otanu limadata. על כן אדוני אלוהינו ושוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח מחוקך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובנהגי יומם ולילה נגה יומם ולילה ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל אוהב עמו
Amen.
We go back to the chapel. We ask Eden to lead us, Shema and Vehavta.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך וחיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברתם בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
Yeah, continue in the middle of page 30 at your own pace, and we'll get back together in just a moment. We return to the top of page 31, page 31.
ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פתיל תהלת והיה להם לציצית וריתם אותו וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם ולא תטורו אחרי לבבם לבב עיניהם אשר אתם זונים אחריהם למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי וחייתם קדושים לאלוהיהם אני אדוני אלוהיהם אשר הוצאתי אתם מארץ מצרים להיות להם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיהם אדוני אלוהיהם אמת.
אמת ואמונה כל זאת תקיים עלינו כי אדוני אלוהינו.
We continue at the top of page 32, page 32. In this blessing, we bless God's saving and redemptive nature, quoting a story of redemption, the Song of the Sea. And in that song that we sang on the other side of the split sea, we said, "Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai," who is like you, God, among all who are worshipped.
Let's join together in the middle of page 32.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai,
מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף תלת, נורא תהילות אוסף תלת. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף תלת, נורא תהילות אוסף תלת. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקר היה לפני משה ומרים. זיילי, אנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, לעולם ועד. ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני,
Baruch Shemo.
גל ישראל.
Amen. We continue at the top of page 33. Help us, Adonai, to lie down in peace and awaken us again, our sovereign, to life. Hashkivenu on page 33.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. ושמור את צאתנו ורואינו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו ומלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. שלום, 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 שלום. ברוך אתה אדוני הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים.
Amen. We continue at the top of page 34. Page 34.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת
Shabbos.
לעשות את השבת לדורותם בברית עולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בברית עולם.
Let's go to the chapel where Aidan is going to lead us in the Chatzi Kaddish in the middle of page 34.
Yikadal v'ikadashime rabba.
Amen.
Ve'amadi rakute, ve'amlif malchute, ve'hayachonu v'yomechon uchedecho be'Yisrael, bagala uvizman kari v'meru.
Amen.
Yehi shmei rabba mivora, le'alam u'almei amaya, Yibarach, Yishabach, Ripa'ari Chaman, Rinatze, Ritadar, Ritale, Ritala, Shemedi Kudisha,
Brichu.
Le'ela Mikol Behata, Veshirata, Tush Behata, Venehemata, Damiran Bama, Vimeru.
Amen. Shakoach.
We rise for the Amidah for Shabbat evening. This is a moment or two of private prayer. This is a time for private meditation. If you want to use the words from our tradition, they begin on page 35b. 35b. You can also share whatever prayer is in your heart at this time. Take some time to pray your own prayer, and we'll get back together in just a couple of moments. When you're done with your own prayer, you may be seated.
הוא לרצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי לפניך אדוני צורי וגואלי אמן. עושה שלום, שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, אמן, אמן. עושה שלום, שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. ועל כל ישראל. Amen.
It's now a time in our service where we're about to begin to end our service. And one of the last prayers that we say, not the last prayer, but one of the last prayers we say is the Aleinu. And we often, on a night like this, will open the Ark. Cantor Ruth?
Should we do Kaddish Shalem on 48?
Yeah, let's do Kaddish Shalem on
Okay, I
page
think
48.
it's a good
I was
idea.
excited about announcing an honor, but you're right.
Yikada Vikada Shemei Rabba.
Amen.
Be'amadi Rakute Ramli Malchute. Be'chaya Yonu Chomechon Uche de Chobe Israel. Bagala Izman Kari Vimeru.
Amen.
Yehi Shemei Rabba Mevora. Le'alam wa me'amaya. Yibarach. Yibarach Yishobach. Vipa'ari Shuman Vinatse. Vitadari Tele. Vitala Shemei Kudisha.
Brichu.
Le'ela mikol behata v'shirata, tush behata v'nehemata damiran v'ama v'imeru.
Amen.
Tika bas hon uaton dechol Yisrael, kodam avutom div shemaya v'imeru.
Amen.
Yehi shalom arba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'yako Yisrael, v'imeru.
Amen.
Ose shalom b'mromav, uyase shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imeru.
Amen. Yasher Koch, you're right. That was very well done. I'm sorry. I would have been sorry to miss that. So now, without any further ado, we're going to have Aleinu. This is a prayer that we use to begin to end our service. At this time, we're also going to open the Ark there in the chapel. The honor of opening the Ark belongs to Laura and Scott Van Dellen. However, they're not in the chapel, so we need a designated Ark opener, and that's going to be Allie Hartford. All right, as the Ark is open, please rise for Aleinu on page 51.
We face the Ark.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו במשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר את ראשו. על כן נקווה לך אדוני אלוהינו להיות מלך ותפארת וזכר להבין ולעולם. כי המלכות שלך היא, ולעולמיה תמלוך בכבוד, ככתוב את תורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, והי אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו אחד.
As Alio closes the ark, you may be seated. Even as we gather together in joy at times like this, we also remember, perhaps most acutely, those who are no longer with us. In the coming week, we are marking the Yahrzeit of Andrew Lane, Batya Berlant, B'nai Susan Grader, Benjamin Saperstein, Betty Sonis, Charles Gabriel, Darlene Miller, David Jacobson, Ed Lagodowitz, Esther Schuster, Fanny Gens, Fanny Grossman, Harris Taylor, Harry Cohen, Harry Kaplan, Irving Soshnick, Jerry Bradley, Lillian Ward, Martin Gould, Max Nell, Max Schlachter, Mildred Ellis, Sarah Ostro, Siebert Weissman, Shiraga Tenenbaum, Shokrala Yunesi, Sonia Krakowski, Sonia Krishka, Stephen Levine, Sylvan Kellen, Theodore Woolsey, and Zev Gabriel. We are also in our community mourning the sudden loss of Bill Dreschner, husband of our Gabbai and teacher and friend Sandra Dreschner, father of Madison Dreschner, and stepfather of Tova Goodman Rosowski. We'll gather as a community for a Shiva Minyan this Saturday night at 6:15 via Zoom. The link has been shared with the community. That's Saturday night at 6:15. We'll start with Havdalah and then have have a prayer service and a time to share our comfort with the family. And then again on Sunday at 3:30 p.m. We pray that Bill's memory be a blessing. May God comfort and strengthen Sandra and her family at this time. I'll ask that you, if you are observing a Yahrzeit or in mourning for anyone, please rise for the Mourner's Kaddish on page 52. Let's pray together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ba'alma divra kirute v'amlich malchute b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chaye d'chol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'v'izman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mivorach Leolam U'Lomei Almaya Yitbarach V'Yishtabach V'Yitbar V'Yitramam V'Naseh V'Tadar V'Taleh V'Talao Shmei Dekudsha Brihu Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'Shirata Tushbechata V'Nechamata Da'amiran Be'alma V'Imru Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'Chaim Aleinu Lo Kol Yisrael V'Imru Amen. Roseh Shalom Bimromav, Puya Se Shalom Aleinu, Val Kol Yisrael, Vimru, Amen. If you're standing, you may be seated. It is now time for a few brief but meaningful presentations of gifts for our bar mitzvah. I think it's, Aiden, do you have a goodie bag there that you can show everybody in the chapel?
He has a bunch of gifts there, and each one of them has a sticky, so he will know.
Okay, so I'm
Which
going to
gift
put those there
belongs
so you can
to
sort of
what?
hold them up when your presenters are speaking. And speaking of presenters, Sophia Maneker is going to make a presentation on behalf of the USY. Take it away, Sophia.
Hi, Aiden. I'm Sophia, and I'm speaking on behalf of the USY Board. I am here to present you with the Behol Echad. The Behol Echad is a songbook used for both Sloach and Ruach at USY regional events. Sloach, which is calm and reflecting, is the opposite of Ruach, which is filled with energy and enthusiasm. Hopefully, you get to experience one of these regional events in person someday. You may not be the biggest fan of song and dance, but I think you will enjoy this songbook very much. Because from the years I have known you, you have always been very energetic, which is all that Ruach is about. And I hope that you have a great time tomorrow. I know you'll do amazing.
Thank you.
Yasher Koach. And now we have a very special presenter for a very special reason. I'd like to present Judy Callahan, who has a presentation on behalf of the Sisterhood.
So Aiden, that's the big box there. Aiden, you are one of those wonderful 3-generational families that belong to our synagogue. This week has been a very special week for your family because you first welcomed your newest cousin, and tonight they're welcoming their newest Jewish adult. It is really exciting, and we are thrilled as Sisterhood to be part of your simcha. I think I presented your father with his Kiddush cup
Oh my God.
many years ago. And it is a great honor that on behalf of Synagogue, I present you with this one. Know that wherever you go, your synagogue family will always be with you. And every time you make Kiddush, I hope you remember this fabulous weekend. Maybe not quite as you envisioned it a year ago, but special and wonderful. And you are surrounded with virtual hugs. Mazel tov to you and your entire family on this wonderful, wonderful occasion.
Thank you.
Amen, amen. Now there will be a presentation by the Men's Club, and that will be presented by Dave Lauren.
Good work.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay. Aiden, I have the pleasure to congratulate you on becoming a bar mitzvah on behalf of the Men's Club. I have personally known you your entire life and watched you mature into a young man you have become today. I know you enjoy soccer and especially being a big brother to Allie and a cousin to Jake, Colton, Emma, and now Brooklyn. I have always been so impressed with how you are always caring and being the leader of your little clan of cousins and sister. It's just been a total pleasure watching how you look out for them, and you're always there for them, and it's just wonderful to see. I know how proud your parents and your nana and grandpa are of you, as well as everyone else at this important milestone of your life. The Men's Club has made youth the focus of our community service. It's wonderful that we can look to youth such as yourself to perpetuate Judaism. The Men's Club would like to present you with the gift of this yod tonight so that you can use it tomorrow in your first official calling to the Torah. Just as it points your way through Torah, may the Torah also be your resource for pointing your way through life's decisions and ups and downs. Susan and our entire family join me in wishing you a mazel tov, and we're very proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeshkoach, well done. So now you've got a lot of goodies there. If you want to leave them there overnight, they will be perfectly safe in the synagogue. And you want to leave the yod there because you're going to use it for Torah reading tomorrow. If you'll bear with me just a little bit longer, I have a few brief but meaningful announcements of other things going on in this community. First of all, it's still Shabbos tomorrow, y'all, so please come in at 9:30 to join us for this continued celebration of Shabbat and to celebrate with the Hartford family this wonderful milestone. because Aiden's worked really hard for this, and he deserves for you to hear him, especially the Devar Torah. I can't wait for that part. So come tomorrow at 9:30, and then, like I said before, we're having a Shiva Minyan at 6:15 in the evening for the Dreschner family. That'll be on Zoom. I want to just share something real quick that went in the announcement, but if anybody's hearing this news for the first time, this is a service for you as well as a service for their family. Many people have asked how they can support the family at this challenging time, and one of our Jewish reflexes is to bring food. You should know, though, that Bill, alav shalom, worked for Costco, and his Costco family has been inundating the family with food, and there's more food than there is people. So while that is a good Jewish instinct, it's not helpful at this time. However, Bill loved to garden. And Sandra said the most wonderful thing that people could do who feel compelled to help out is to bring gift cards from Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, and the gardening section of Home Depot. I think Lowe's will probably do as well, so that they can bring more beauty into the world. So please join us tomorrow in the community at 6:30 for that. Then on Sunday, we have our regular religious school meeting at 9:30, our outstanding religious school at its regular meeting time at 9:30 on Sunday. At 10 a.m., we have, and you can see a flyer up there, we have a refugee update hosted by the Social Justice Group. That's at 10 a.m. At 10:30, for the Kadimaniks, we have the Kadima Book Club. That's the younger section of our youth group. The older section of our youth group, the USY, will be having a book club at 5 p.m. In between there, at 1 p.m., there will be a mindfulness meditation class. That's all just Sunday. So Monday, we have a 7:30 p.m. ritual committee meeting. So if you'd like to hear the ins and outs of how we make decisions about what goes in the service and what we have planned for coming holidays, and you like the nitty gritty, I highly suggest that you check out the ritual committee. That's meeting Monday at 7:30 p.m. On Tuesday, we have our regular meditation group, our outstanding meditation group at its regular time at 8:45 a.m., 4 p.m. for our religious school, and 7:30 p.m. we have a social hall with Talia Harris. Do you know her? Talia Harris is going to be talking about virtual internships, which is about some of the only internships you can get these days. So that's going to be very important. On Wednesday at 8 a.m., we have our meditation group. 7:30, we have a men's club Mars Landing Zoom meeting. I know there are people in our men's club with long histories of working on in the space program and things like that. So it's going to be a great gathering. 7:30 p.m. with the men's club, and at 8 p.m. there is our usual Pirkei Avot discussion group. Thursday, 10 a.m., you can explore your life through Torah with Rabbi Jason Mann. There is a social justice committee meeting. That's at 10 a.m. for the Torah class, 7 p.m. for a social justice meeting. And then next weekend, guess what, y'all? It's Shabbos again. And at 7:30 Friday night, we will begin celebrating Shabbat and the bar mitzvah of Jared Levine. And that's going to be 7:30 p.m. on Friday, 9:30 a.m. on Saturday. And I'm very much looking forward to it, and you should too. So thank you for joining us at PJTC tonight. We've got 2 more things to do, and let's make it 3 more things. So the first thing is we're going to sing our way out of here. We're going to end as we began, and that is in Joyous Song. I'll ask you to stand and sing along with us. Then I would ask you to do the second thing, and that's stick around for Kiddush. And then if you're here on Zoom and you want to just share some mazel tovs with the family, after Kiddush, we're going to turn the live stream off. And if you're here on Zoom, you can stick around and talk to the family. So, like I said, let's start with singing, shall we?
Shall we? You can stand up if you want to. You can move around. There in the chapel, I see all of you scooching in. I'm going to perhaps suggest the grandparents join. There you are. Let's join together. Oh, Diavo Shalom Aleinu. Oh, Diavo Shalom Aleinu. Oh, Diavo Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Oh, Diavo Shalom Aleinu. Oh, Diavo Shalom Aleinu. Oh, Diavo Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam. Shalom. Salam.
עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, ועל כולם. עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, ועל כולם. סלם עלינו ועל כל העולם, סלם שלום. סלם עלינו ועל כל העולם, סלם שלום. שבת שלום. Shabbos.
Good Shabbos, everybody. If you want to join us for Kiddush, please grab some wine, some juice, some schnapps, the celebratory beverage of your choice, and join us right back here.
So Aiden, let's see if we can move the prayer book and everything out of there so we have some space for the challah. Look at that good looking challah.
That challah needs some space.
It deserves it at this point. Look at that. Very nice.
So
So
we're going to let Aiden use the big cup tonight.
Aiden, do you have a Kiddush cup with you?
Yes. Here you go.
Okay. Are we ready? ויהי ערב ויהי בוקר יום השישי, ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם, ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי, מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישפוט ביום השביעי, מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי, ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו, אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. Lift up your cup. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן.
Amen.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו, ושבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה בראשית. כי הוא יום תפילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת עם כל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Amen.
לחיים.
Chaim.
All right, if it's anybody's practice to wash your hands before the challah, go right ahead and do that this moment. If you'd like me to, if you don't have the washing cup, I'll do it and I'll be thinking of you, okay?
Just say the prayer needs my
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim.
Amen. Now we go back to the chapel. It looks like they're having such a good time. I'm so sorry I can't be there. Everyone is having such a good time.
I'm sorry, I can't eat that challah.
So how about you, one of you together, maybe partnership is good at this time. Lift up the challah. It looks like it's a huge challah. And together say the prayer. Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi min haaretz. B'te'avon, take a little piece.
Amen.
Take a little piece. Take a piece.
And Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom, Yashar
Enjoy
Kach,
the
Aiden,
challah.
and Mazel Tov to the Hartford family.
He's having such